beautiful. So today is the day. We got a little goodie box, Maker's Mark Cellar Age. We got a sample of it. I just couldn't wait for a bottle of this, and we got a sample, and I said, we're doing it. We're doing it now. We need to know. Absolutely. I am so stoked. This is unprecedented Maker's Mark. 13% 11-year-old and 87% 12-year-old. 115.7 Maker's Mark. Just wow. On the nose is just Maker's Mark like you've never smelled before. I'm getting a lot of sweet cherry notes, but man, is there a level of oakiness, very soft oakiness that you just have not smelled on a Maker's Mark before. Just so sweet oak. I mean, this just is so delicately inviting. Please come on in and drink this entire bottle. And then on the palate that carries through, it is a blanket of cherry sweetness. So if that's your thing, this glides over your tongue with a lot of jammy sweetness, but it's enveloped with, again, oakiness that is not reminiscent of any Maker's Mark that we've had. Another thing that I'm not really getting versus some of the other makers that I have, especially the private selects, it's not as in the chocolatey realm of things, you know what I'm saying? I think this is much more focusing on, hey, this is 12 years old. This is what oak in Maker's does. The proof, it's 115 proof, and it doesn't come across that way really at all. I think the age on this kind of helps mute that proof. I think it tones it down a little bit, and that's probably why they put it out at such a high proof, because I feel like if you put that out at a lower proof, it would almost just be gone. And maybe that's why they put it at such a high proof. That way it does feel like you're getting something. I think one of my favorite parts of this is the more I drink it and the more that I let it sit on my tongue, it kind of like the flavors building up. So the finish, I don't really feel a whole lot going on down here, not gonna lie. But the residual flavors that are in my mouth, this nice, it's like a butterscotch vanilla oak that's left over in your mouth. It's freaking pleasant. It's so good. Like I almost want to drink it and then sit there and like taste what's like left over in my mouth, which is crazy because these are notes that we have never, or I've never seen on a Maker's Mark. So, you know, up front is that classic Maker's sweetness, maybe a little bit elevated. So if you are into that, you know, the cherry, the strawberry, the red fruitiness, that's definitely there. But then it definitely turns into age as it goes. This is my first impression. Like, I opened this on the camera and drank it right here in front of you. Normally, I like to drink something, maybe get an idea of how it is. This is raw first impressions of this bottle. I will say the first sip, I was kind of like, you know, it's all this hype, and then it kind of was like, that was pretty good. You know, it wasn't just like, whoa. But as I'm drinking it, it's definitely getting into like, this is special Maker's Mark. It's something that I would say is maybe a little more delicate, okay? If you're like me, you like to consume things quickly and have a great time and just like, wow, that's so good, I'm gonna keep drinking it. Whereas I think this is, you know, you gotta sit down, slow down, buddy. We don't have to hit a home run right now. We can get to first base, then slide into second and weasel our way into third eventually, and then we'll crowd the home plate. I think this is definitely one, especially I believe the price of these are around $150. If you're going to spend that kind of money on bottles of bourbon or whiskey, maybe that's the way you should drink them anyway, you know, just trying to tell myself that, but it's definitely, you know, you need to sit and appreciate it. Man, it's like, I'm telling you, the more you go back to it, and I think that's a good sign of a very well put together complex bourbon, is the more you go back to it, it should keep evolving. You should continue to like it more and more. And that oak, it's like the best sweet oak. Okay, I'm getting the right amount of the fruitiness and the right amount of oakiness to where it just blends together into, I wish Maker's Mark, like all Maker's Mark should taste like that type of thing, like the basic all of them. You know what I'm saying? It's like where it should be. I think for the people who aren't into regular makers, I bet you would love this. I think the issue is gonna come down to, let's just jump to the case, because I can just tell you how much I like this all I want, but the issue is gonna come down to price. You know, some people look at the regular makers, it's 20 bucks, you don't really like it, and then this one's, you know, gonna be double the age of a regular makers, but then like 10 times the price of that bottle too. So it's gonna be like, well, do I wanna spend 10 times the money to get something that I like? I think this bottle was destined and designed and released for the people like me who are a maker's freaking aficionado and I want a 12 years maker just to see what it's like. Or people who are like, hey, that sounds really interesting and I have the money to do it. I don't think you should go out of your way and spend a buttload of money if you hate Maker's Mark just, you know, to get a 12-year-old version of it. My final thoughts on this, and I'm gonna revisit this whenever I get my hands on a bottle. I'm gonna revisit it, give an updated review of it, but I think as a maker's lover, this is exactly what I want from them, what I wanted from them, what I've been waiting for them. It's definitely something that's very complex and requires you to sit and relax and enjoy what it is. You know, just a 12-year-old Maker's Mark, okay? We never had that. Off the first impression, half of a sample bottle, I really like this as a makers guy, and I bet you a lot of people who aren't into makers are gonna like this. I bet this will kind of make people mad that all makers doesn't taste like this. But then again, remember the price. Don't go out of your way. It's not like this is going to be, don't have FOMO if you miss this and be like, oh, well, I missed the best bottle ever. It's really good. Let's face it, it's a really good bottle. Is it the best thing we've ever had? I'm happy that they've done this, and I'm happy I've gotten to try it. Shout out Young Dai Chang for hooking me up with this sample. I think for the Maker's Mark lovers out there, I think this is just, it's gonna be another tool in the cabinet. You know what I'm saying? It's just, this was a missing piece in the puzzle of your shelf, and it needed to be there. It took a while, but we finally got it. So there we have it, guys. My first initial take on the Maker's Mark Cellar Aged. I'm gonna be on the lookout. Get me a full bottle of this. Hopefully you guys can get one too if that's something that interests you. When and if you try it, remember, go to the comments and let people know what you personally think of it. What you think about purchasing it for the price that you did. Was it worth it, and should others pay that price too? Leave a like, subscribe if you are new here, and until next time, I'm Trev Wilson. See ya in the next video.